Check us out. What's cracking, gang? What's cracking, KGM? Appreciate you being in the building. Just over here checking my text messages real quick. Yeah, man, what's going on, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world today, to you and yours, you know what I mean? So we're going to get into this podcast. We're going to talk about some of the, well, we're not really going to get into the news too heavy because there hasn't really been no news outside of the obvious bad news of CM Punk confirming his injury on Monday Night Raw and everything being in flux. That's kind of what led me to our podcast subject for today. We're going to talk about this WrestleMania match card because it seems to be in a little bit of a flux. Well, a lot of bit of a flux if you read all the dirt sheets. And you don't even have to read the dirt sheet, excuse me. You just have to kind of watch. If you watch Monday Night Raw, they kind of showed you that they have no idea what they're going to do as of right now. Or maybe they do, and they're just trying to confuse us on what they want to do. But either way, we're going to try to make some sense of this WrestleMania match card following Royal Rumble going into Elimination Chamber in a couple weeks. There's some matches that we can probably say are definitely going to happen. And then there are some matches that we kind of want to happen. And I'm just going to throw some other matches out there that could happen that maybe I want to see that I'm not 100% sure about. So let's start from the top, guys. We got to figure out what's going on with this Seth Rollins and this World Heavyweight Championship title match at WrestleMania now that the one and only CM Punk has been ruled out for about 4 to 6 months, up to 9 months, they're saying. So we won't be getting CM Punk versus Seth, which is what we were all so much looking forward to. I was looking forward to it. I'm sure you guys were as well. We're not going to get that match. So we got to figure out another opponent for Seth, who is also battling a knee injury and was touch and go on if he would even make Mania. That was kind of the storyline, going into Royal Rumble, and then his rumored opponent got hurt. So we got to figure out what we're going to do with Seth. Now, if you ask me, I think that Seth should still be the night one main event. And if I'm going to have to put Seth up against anybody at WrestleMania 40, My number one, I have two choices, but my number one choice would be Gunther. And I would have Gunther walk into WrestleMania 40 with the Intercontinental Championship because that just makes him look even stronger as an opponent for Seth Rollins. And I would have him beat Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship, making him a made man. And then I would have him relinquish the Intercontinental Championship on the Raw after Mania. It's a very simple process. Let's just get it done. Gunther's the next man in line. You could throw Drew McIntyre in there. That wouldn't be my pick. My second pick would be a babyface versus a freshly heel turned Randy Orton. I don't think they're going to turn Randy Orton heel before WrestleMania, although they could. But I just don't think they're going to do that. People love Randy Orton too much at this point. They're going to cheer him RKOing anyone. So I don't think you could turn Randy Orton heel at this point. So I got Gunther in that spot. I don't really see them doing Seth versus Drew again, although they very well could. But I think he's wrapped up in another match that I think we're going to see at WrestleMania. I think we're going to get, and I think it's pretty obvious and apparent that we're going to get a feud over the next few months, probably at Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania. We're going to get Drew versus Sammy. Now, their feud has been running for a few months now. Drew's the one who put Sammy out on the shelf in kayfabe for a few weeks. Sammy came back and attacked Drew, making a save for Punk. When Drew attacked Punk this past Monday. So, they battled it out, then had a match, and, Drew demolished Sammy. But, we'll see how things, play out. It wasn't a match, but it was just kind of a beatdown. But we'll see how things go as far as WrestleMania. I'm not really sure if there's any other opponent for Drew McIntyre right now. I don't really see anyone else that he could be facing outside of Sammy or Seth Rollins, and I don't think they're going to put him up against Seth Rollins. He's already taken the L a couple times, even though his goal is the World Heavyweight Championship. That is why he's doing all these dastardly things to get back to that mountaintop. So who knows? They could do Seth and Drew again. I don't really know. I don't really know, but we will see. Now, everything in WWE right now, if you've been paying attention, unless you've been living under a rock for the last year plus, has been about finishing stories. I think at WrestleMania 40 is just the perfect round number. It just makes so much sense. We already had the pump fake last year. It just makes too much sense. There's no reason to give Cody Rhodes 2 back-to-back Royal Rumble wins if he's not going to face and defeat Roman Reigns for that Universal Heavyweight Championship. It makes absolutely zero sense. So we have to get Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 40. That should be the night 2 main event, obviously. Send everybody home happy after the weekend. Seth versus Drew will be cool. Yeah, it would be cool. It'd be a great match. I mean, it'd be a great match, KGM, but I'm not really sure if they're going to go that route again because we've seen that a couple times last year. So I don't know if we're going to see that again. Roman versus Rock, I'm not really sure that's the man. No one's clamoring for people are always clamoring to see The Rock. His pops are massive every time he comes back. I just don't know what I know what the story is. It's the head of the table BS, but how do you build to that in 2 months with everything that's going on? You still got Jimmy and Jay embroiled in their nonsense. Like, once Roman and Reigns is over, do Jimmy and Jay become friends? I don't know. It seems a little bit too soon because they should have been building to that from SummerSlam if we were going to go into Mania with The Rock versus Roman. And, obviously with The Rock becoming an executive, it just makes no sense. I made the point before that The Rock is officially the head of the table because Roman Reigns, as long as he's working for WWE, he works for The Rock. The Rock he's literally on the board of directors. So there could only be one boss, and the boss is usually at the head of the table. So that kills that argument right there. But no, just in all seriousness, that's just not a match that I'm personally clamoring for right now because they haven't built to it. I'd rather see Jey Uso beat Roman Reigns or Sami Zayn beat Roman Reigns for the title, honestly, especially it being for the title. You can't have The Rock defeat Roman Reigns for the Universal title. I don't want to see The Rock as champion again. I don't need to see that. We already had the retired Rock coming back to win the championship and doing that whole thing. I don't need to see that. He's 50 some years. I don't need to see that. So I just don't think that's going to happen right now. So we got 3 matches. We got Seth and Gunther, Drew and Sammy, Roman and Cody. I think those are matches that everyone can see happening very easily. Another match that I think people see happening just because they've been building a story tremendously. This is one of the best built stories going into WrestleMania. I think we're going to get Bayley, the Women's Royal Rumble winner, going up against her current teammate, stablemate, Io Sky. So it just makes too much sense. If you watch wrestling, you know the story they've been telling on Monday Night Raw with these ladies in Damage Control alienating Bayley and Bayley feeling alienated and left out a lot of the times and not getting the praise from the squad and all that good stuff. So I feel like she's gonna snap, or they're gonna turn on her before she turns on them, because they have it in her head because Rhea scared her a little bit and possibly challenging EO. So maybe they'll turn on her next Monday and get ahead of the game. But who knows? I got that match happening. It has to happen. Bayley versus Io Sky. It'll be a great match. Bayley will get her moment. She'll win the women's championship again. And it'll be well deserved. And I think it'll make Io Sky even bigger star. Like, she's the champ, but she still doesn't feel like on the level of a Bayley or even a Naomi or a Jade Cargill for that matter. And she's barely even been around. Io still doesn't feel like she's on that level. Not even on the level of Asuka, if you ask me personally. So I think even in a loss in a match like that to Bayley at WrestleMania, I think would be a good thing for Io. So I'm looking forward to seeing that match as well. Another women's match that I think we're going to get at WrestleMania. I'm 97.5% sure we're going to see at WrestleMania, unless Nia Jax or somebody gets involved in the madness. I think we're going to get Rhea versus Becky. Why do I think we're going to get Rhea versus Becky? Because it's a match between 2 super duper stars. It was the super duper star in the women's division from the last 2 or 3 years. And then you got the super duper star in the women's division from 2023. So you got the 2 most recent super duper women's stars, and just find a way to make it happen. You put Becky in the chamber, you have her win, and she could face Rhea for the Women's World Championship. I just think it makes too much sense. It'll be an amazing match. The match between them will be amazing. They've been building towards this feud, just like little trinkets, dibbling, dabbling, just having them cross paths and stare each other down, little things like that. There's been no fisticuffs or anything like that, but they've been building to it slowly but surely. And I think it's something that everyone wants to see. I don't think anyone would complain about seeing Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley. So, all right, we got 6 matches. So I think those 6 matches are pretty solid. Now we're gonna get I got another match that I think is pretty solid. It's another one that's pretty obvious if you ask me. KGM just mentioned one of them. Jey Uso beating Roman for the title would be epic. It would be epic. I agree. But I think Jey Uso isn't gonna beat Roman Reigns for the title at WrestleMania. Instead, he's going to beat his brother, Jimmy Uso, who has also been doing a tremendous job. All these dudes gonna be doing movies. Like, you can tell that it's like a family thing. They all gonna be in the movies. They're all tremendous actors and athletes. I can see them all being in films later down the line. Roman Reigns is already headed there. Rock is obviously the biggest star in the world right now. So their bloodline is extremely talented. Let's just say that. But their feud has been building, obviously, with all the bloodline stuff going on, and Solo being involved, and Roman torturing both of them at separate times, and then them, turning on each other and having their feud, and then their interaction at the Royal Rumble, which was kind of light. They were 1-2 in the Rumble, and they interacted a little bit, but it wasn't nothing really heavy. So I think they're saving it for WrestleMania for those two to really, really go at it. That's why they gave us the good stare down in the Rumble, you know what I mean, for the good video package when they're building to that match. So I think we're going to see Jimmy versus Jay for sure at WrestleMania 40. Just makes it would make no sense not to do it. You did all this for this reason. So, uh, yeah, so that's 7 matches. All right, now it gets a little tricky. Like, who's gonna be facing off with who? You got this massive roster of talented people who've been doing their thing really all year, and you got to find a spot for them on the WrestleMania card. You don't want each night to be 10 matches. That's why you broke it up into 2 nights anyway, so the show isn't super duper long. So you're probably gonna get 6 or 7 matches on each night. And we already got 7, so we're halfway through. I would say I was gonna give y'all 10, but I'm gonna give y'all an extra couple just so we could try to fill out this card. Now, you have some main eventers in the men's division right now who are enthralled in feuds and their baby faces slash heels, and it's just you really have no vision of where WWE is going with them at the current time. The people I'm talking about are newly returning LA Knight, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, and there's a couple other people out there like Shinsuke Nakamura, who's obviously been a big part of WWE TV. All these singles wrestlers, and it's just like they don't really have a really good feud that you could take a big bite out of. They just had a fatal 4-way against Roman Reigns. They weren't really feuding against each other though. AJ Styles is clearly a heel, but LA Knight and Randy Orton are both baby faces. Now, what I have here is that I think, now I know this could be a little boring for obvious reasons, because these guys just literally just were just in a match at the Royal Rumble all together. But I think Midas Roman Reigns, you could potentially do a triple threat match for a future title shot or something. I don't know if you want to do matches for future title shots at WrestleMania. That might not make the most sense, but just throw these guys in a triple threat match. You know what I mean? I don't think you could pick somebody else to do a fatal 4-way because we just did that at Royal Rumble. So maybe put these guys in a triple threat match, or maybe you just have AJ Styles versus Randy Orton. But then who does LA Knight face? I don't want to see LA Knight face a mid-carder at WrestleMania. He's not going to face Gunther, according to me, because I got Gunther versus Seth. So I don't know where else he could go. The Logan Paul thing is what everybody's been talking about. So I guess I would probably go with, is it going to Randy Orton versus Logan Paul? No, that's what I'm going to do. Since we had 7 matches, I'm going to break it up so that'll give us an extra match. So I'm going to go LA Knight versus Logan Paul, and I'm going to go AJ Styles versus Randy Orton. So they both get one-on-one matches, and there's no more triple threats or, fatal 4-ways and none of that shit. So let's go with that. LA Knight versus Logan Paul, and we'll get Randy Orton versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania. So that clears that up for the men's wrestlers who don't really have good feuds going on right as of now. So we're up to 9 matches. Now we're going to get into the women's singles wrestlers who don't really have super hardcore feuds going on right now. And those ladies are Bianca Belair, Nia Jax, Liv Morgan, recently returning Naomi, and I'm going to throw in a Jade Cargill in there as well. And there's probably some other female wrestlers that could possibly potentially make the Mania card. But as far as singles wrestlers, all 5 of these women have to be on the WrestleMania card. Jade Cargill has to be on the WrestleMania card. She was just at Rumble. You debuted her. There's no point in debuting her at Rumble and then not showing her, having her show up at WrestleMania. That makes 0 sense. So she has to be on the card in some way, shape, or form. I think, because I honestly just have no idea what else to do here, I think you could do a triple threat match between Jade Cargill, Liv Morgan, and Naomi. Or you could do a fatal 5-way and throw Bianca and Nia in there as well. What I would prefer personally, what I would like to see is a match between Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. But I don't think they're going to give us that. As much as it would be amazing, I think it's too soon. It's too soon, right? Tell me I'm tripping. It's too soon. I hope that I'm tripping and it's not too soon and they actually do that. That would be crazy. But how do you do that unless Jay Cargill just comes out and turns it to a heel like she was in AEW for most of the time, and then she can go up against Bianca. That would be an amazing match. It's going to happen, God willing. It's going to happen at some point in the future, but I'm not sure about it happening at WrestleMania 40. I'm not really sure, but that's a match that at this point, even watching them do gorilla presses in the middle of the ring to Becky and Liv at the same time in the Rumble, it's just like, all right, so they're teasing us already. It's got to happen, but I just feel like it's way too soon for that to happen. Jay's still trying to learn the WWE way in the ring. Bianca's one of the best in the business right now. She could probably carry her to a decent match, but they just got to build some kind of story. Even though just looking at those women, that could be an exhibition. They don't even need a story. I don't think they need a story just based off the way they look. It's just an athletic competition. When you see two women that look like that, it's just like, I want to see who will win. So you might not even need a story building to a match between those two. But I have no idea what to do with those 5 ladies. Like I said, I just throw them, for right now, I'm going to just throw them in a fatal 5-way. Nia Jax has to be on the card. She's gotten half the people on the card over headed towards their WrestleMania matches. So Nia has to be on the card. Like I said, Jade has to be on there. Bianca, obviously. Naomi, obviously. And Liv Morgan is kind of an obvious thing. Like, they all have to be on a WrestleMania card. None of them have stories going on right now. So, fuck it. Just throw them in a fatal 5-way before a future shot at the women's title. I don't know. I keep saying that. You can't. Doing matches for future shots at a title at WrestleMania doesn't really, because WrestleMania is where things end. Like, stories end. So I don't know if you could do that. Just throw them in a fatal 5-way. Doesn't have to be for a belt or a contender spot. Just put them in a match. They do these showcase matches on WrestleMania all the time anyway. So that's my idea. I don't know. Hopefully you guys have something better. Hopefully WWE has something better. Although this fatal 5-way would be kind of lit. Like, let's be honest. You got Bianca, Nia, Jade, Liv, and Naomi. First of all, it's only one white girl in the whole thing, so it's kind of cool. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm like, all right, I'm feeling it already. You know what I mean? I see a lot of beautiful sisters in the ring right now. You know what I mean? And Liv Morgan, who is also gorgeous. You know what I mean? And smokes weed. You know what I mean? Big fan. So, I don't know if you guys have any other ideas. I don't know what else to do with all those ladies, but they have to be on the card. Now, moving on. That's 10 matches already. We're up to 10 matches, guys. Now, moving on, we got to get into the tag team division a little bit. We're going to get back to some singles wrestlers, but we got to get to the tag team division because we got the women's tag team championships which they're trying to build up again. They're trying to make them, into a thing again. They just put them back on the Kabuki Warriors, so who also have to be on the card some way, shape, or form. So I see there being you got to get everybody on the card. And I know this, and they're going to do this because you got to get everybody on the card, and you can't have a bunch of one-on-one matches, or you're only going to have 10% of the roster on the card. So and they always do this anyway. It's going to be a fatal 4-way match. For the women's tag team championships. It's going to probably be Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. The party girls, Kaden and Katana. You'll have the champions, Kabuki Warriors. And you'll probably have somebody like Tegan and Natalia, or somebody like some random other team like that. Or they might call up somebody, maybe, Isla Dawn and her partner from NXT, or maybe some other team from NXT. Who knows? But I see a fatal 4-way for the tag team championships happening. I think the Kabuki Warriors will lose that match because I definitely think Io's going to lose. So I think maybe they all lose, or maybe the Kabuki Warriors retain and Io loses, and then the whole group splits up through jealousy. So who knows? But I got a fatal 4-way for the women's tag team championships. Now, the men's tag team championships. Who are the Judgment Day going to face at WrestleMania? Now, this is really difficult. This is super difficult. Because it's WrestleMania 40, you got to get everybody on the card, and you can't have 10 matches on each night. You got to consolidate these wrestlers into matches, man. So I'm going to have, just for shits and giggles, this might not happen, but it very well could because I'm pretty sure they just did it a couple years ago. But there's going to be another fatal four-way match for the tag team championships. I think Judgment Day is going to put those on the line. I think that the Awesome Truth is reforming a tag team, so that's a way to get Miz on the card, who has to be on the card. Truth has to be on the card, so you get those guys on the card. I think you also get what other tag teams are in the men's division that are up there? New Day, New Day, and Imperium. Those are the other two teams I was thinking of. So you get New Day, Imperium, Judgment Day, and Awesome Truth. You got two heel teams, two babyface teams in the match. Judgment Day may win or lose. I have no idea. I don't think you put the belts on. Maybe you do give Awesome Truth a run with the titles. Their last run with the titles was terrible, but good. Like, it was around that time our Truth was facing John Cena for the World Championship, and it was... Our Truth was a pretty decent heel. He was like smoking cigarettes and he was cursing. He was gangster. You know what I mean? But it was like, it just wasn't hitting that time. So maybe you give the Awesome Truth another run with the titles. Who knows? They're both They're both great. They're both legends, Miz and Truth. So I wouldn't be opposed to that. New Day, don't need to see them with the belts again unless Big E's coming back. You know what I mean? Imperium. You know what I mean? Ludwig is over. You know what I mean? So, but I don't think the whole team, maybe they're over, but I think it's more because of Ludwig and Gunther. Yeah. No shade. But yeah, so I got another fatal four-way for the men's tag team championships. Now that we got the tag team titles out the way, because those are always a mess, let's get into some other showcase matches with people that you have to get on the card because it's WrestleMania and they've been working all year. People ain't trying to miss WrestleMania. I'm sure Triple H doesn't want people to miss WrestleMania. He's been a wrestler. He knows how that goes, even though he's never had to miss a WrestleMania outside of being injured. So you got to get people like Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits on the card. Now, obviously, they're in the middle of a feud with the Final Testament, which is just like such a ripoff of the Judgment Day's name. Has nobody like peeped that? Like the Final Testament, the Judgment Day. I'm like, weren't those two things the same thing? Just, like, you go to the final. I don't know. I mean, I'm like, if you smoke weed, you're a babyface. Facts. That is a fact. At least to us over here, you are. Right? You are over here. Might not be called wrestling on weed no more, but you know what it is. You know what I mean? But yeah, I see. I got the Pride going up against Final Testament, or you could just do Bobby versus Karrion. Maybe they do the 3-on-3 match at Chamber, and then we get the one-on-one match between Bobby and Karrion at WrestleMania, which feels like a WrestleMania match. Karrion Kross is doing his thing. This is probably the most relevant he's been since he's been in WWE. Let's just keep it real. Outside of the stuff he's doing at NXT, which was cool. But once he got called up to the main roster and Vince put him in some dominatrix shit, because Vince is clearly a creepazoid freak who's down to do all kind of weird stuff. He probably had visions of this dude in leather and was like, yeah, put him in this outfit. Put him in this outfit, pal. Yeah, let me see. Turn around for me. It's like I could just see such a creep. Oh man, but yeah, I could see Bobby going up against Karrion because Karrion's doing his thing, and everybody loves Bobby Lashley. But more than likely, we'll get the Pride versus Final Testament, so you get all 6 of those guys on the card, and then you got to get Santos versus Andrade. I think that Andrade just coming back, you know what I mean, being one of the hottest free agent signings in WWE this year so far. I think you got to get him on the card. I think that Santos being, newly christened Hill a few months ago, I guess, and being one of the hottest up-and-comers in the company, he has to be on the card as well. So I think you put those two in a match against each other. I think Andrade is a babyface at this point. That he's being presented like a babyface. So I think we do that, and we put him up against Santos, and I think that'll be a fire ass Lucha Libre match. Change up the pacing of the match card and all that, because there's no other lucha matches on the card. So you get the Lucha Libre match on the card. You know what I mean, between Santos and Andrade, and yeah, you got a loaded WrestleMania right there, man. Now I don't know if there could be a few other matches. I just gave y'all 13 matches that they could do. There's probably a couple others in there. Now, if Okada shows up at WWE, that just throws everything out of whack again. I don't think he's going to. I think he's signing with AEW for a lot of reasons that I'm sure you've heard in all the dirt sheets. But I think that if Okada showed up, there's just too many. He could face Shinsuke, who I haven't mentioned yet, which is obviously a match that a lot of people would love to see if you're familiar with their work in New Japan. Okada versus AJ Styles is a very obvious match that they could have. They couldn't do Okada versus Finn Balor because I feel like he's going to be defending the tag titles. So if Okada gets signed, that throws a monkey wrench in everything. If Sasha shows up in WWE, which he's likely not going to at this point, Tony Khan and his big announcements. Watch, he announces this time that he has another announcement. My announcement is next week. That guy, so I don't even watch that show no more. And every time I don't watch it, everything that I hear, I be like, oh, so I didn't miss anything. It's like I saved 2 hours of my life. No offense if you watch it. No tribalism over here. Love what AEW represents and what it should be, but it's just not good right now. There's no denying that. I mean, it's just not good. It feels like if I talk about AEW, it feels like I'm reviewing TNA. I feel like TNA is hotter than AEW right now. And they got a working relationship with, I feel like WWE is working with TNA just so TNA can pass up AEW, so AEW can't be the second biggest company. Like, yo, we gonna help you pass these lanes. So they can stop acting like they are competition. You know what I mean? So who knows? KGM, I haven't watched AEW in a while. Yeah, bro, it's just not interesting. And every time I turn it on, the shows be empty. It don't be nobody in there. That's why I say it looks like a TNA or some pandemic show shit. I'm like, I don't even know if I can say that word on a live stream. I'm not monetized, fuck it. But it looked like a pandemic stream. And I was just like, what is going on? Why is there no one in the crowd? Does no one want to go see AEW? I remember these shows used to be lit, used to be crazy. I've been to 3 of them. I've been to 3 AEW Dynamites. So it's just like, man, watching these shows just not hit. I was just like, yeah, I'm just not interested. You got a bunch of old WWE guys that I don't even care to watch at this point. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. You know, build some new stars that have me interested, like you were doing when you first opened the doors. Now you just got a bunch of old dudes coming in. I don't know. I'm just not interested. Stories aren't good. I miss Britt Baker. Yeah, I mean, I ain't gonna lie. Like, I feel like the show will get better when Britt Baker returns. But anyways, we're not talking about AEW. I'm not here to rag on AEW right now. So those are my matches for WrestleMania, man. Are there any other matches that I might have missed or forgotten? It's possible. I definitely could have. Not sure if who could be on the card. Can't forget Amos. Amos is inevitable, as my homie Gruss512 would say. But no, I don't think Amos is going to be on the WrestleMania card unless they do a battle royal, because there's people I haven't mentioned, like Ivar, the Viking Raiders, people like was big guy name who's definitely going to be at Elimination Chamber, Bronson Reed. So you got Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. There's people I haven't mentioned. So they might just have to do like a 10, 20-man battle royal just to get everybody else on the card. They usually try to come up with something like that to get all the people on the card. But I gave you 13 matches, and all these matches, in my opinion, are pretty solid. I gave you 2 fatal 4-ways, a fatal 5-way between 5 amazingly talented women. You know what I mean? You got all the singles matches you could want, all the one-on-one matches you could want. So I think this is a pretty good WrestleMania card. I'd be looking forward to pretty much all of these matches. I'd be looking forward to. especially if they did Bianca versus Jade Cargill. I don't care how green Jade is. I don't care. I just want to see those two women in the ring for 5 to 7 minutes. That's all I need. 5 to 7 minutes. I just want to see those perfectly sculpted women. Those are the two most perfectly sculpted women I've ever seen in a professional wrestling ring. And wait a minute. Oh, yep. That's time. Yep. Jordan Grace just called me, said, "What the fuck did you say?" Jordan Grace is like, "Hold up, man. I know you just saw me in the Royal Rumble." Sorry, Jordan. I've been black women. I know you like black guys. I'm talking about the sisters right now. Oh, man, but that's it, guys. That's the show for today. I'm going to get ready to go to work. I appreciate y'all tuning in to another stream. There's going to be more streams like this, man. I find these streams to be a lot more fun. Our next, we're going to do like top 10, a lot of top 10 streams, a lot of best stuff streams. We'll be doing a lot of that stuff, reminiscing on stuff that I like to talk about, talking about stuff that we talk about, not just talking about the wrestling news on a podcast all the time, because the wrestling news sometimes can be either very dry or very depressing. And I just want to talk about happy stuff. It's pro wrestling. I want to enjoy this shit. And talking about Vince being a scumbag of the earth, in all the backstage drama and people getting punched in the eye. I'm tired of that shit. I just want to talk about how cool wrestling is and how much fun it is and how much I enjoy it or how much I don't enjoy storylines and stuff like that. I don't want to talk about all the nonsense anymore. So I'm going to try to get away from there. We're still going to cover the most important topics and talk about stuff and all that, but I just want to get back to talking wrestling. That's how the channel first started out, and I want to get back to doing that stuff. We tried to do I want to do the whole news broadcast thing, and, kind of was influenced by all the other big wrestling podcasters, the Wrestle Talks and the Cultaholics and Steven Larsons and all these guys, but it's not really my thing, especially doing solo streams. Like, we talk about the news and all that stuff, but it's just not as interesting. I'd rather talk about my favorite matches or my favorite wrestlers or my favorite moves or just different things like that. So enough talking. I'm knocking stuff over. But appreciate you guys, man. I'm going to get ready to head to work. I'll see you on the next stream. Holla at your boy. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that stuff that you know how to do. All right, peace.